Hello, everybody, and welcome to Short Pit, a NASCAR podcast. I'm your host, Kaleb and Chesney. Alongside me, as usual, my co-host, Chris. Chris, how are you on this fine Tuesday?
Pretty good, pretty good. Got a new TV to go mess around with later for the living room. So,
Oh, you're going to watch Vegas on that bad boy?
oh yeah.
Oh, yeah. Below us, we have Cam and BR. Cam, BR, how was your viewing experience? How's your week going so far?
Can't complain.
Yeah, I can't can't complain.
Very good. And I don't think we can complain about Phoenix for once. It was a pretty entertaining race, probably the
Yeah.
most entertaining race it's had in a long, long time, maybe ever, some people are saying. Um, we'll go over that, all the action that happened. We'll go over the Austin Cindric penalty, whether it was enough, whether he should have been suspended. We'll go over what else do we have written down here on our fine agenda. Seabell winning 3 in a row, some Ty Gibbs thoughts, and maybe some Spire Motorsports thoughts. Soft tire obviously is going to be a big conversation. We'll give out our Drivers of the Week award, our Terrorist of the Week award, and some expectations for Las Vegas. So, without further ado, let's kick it off. Chris, your initial reactions from Phoenix and what you saw, what you think.
I enjoyed Phoenix for the first time probably in a while. I mean, it's normally a good race overall, but that was a really good race. It seemed like the tires made a difference. Um, just overall, you got to see more of the up and down drivers, the strategy of when to put the tires on versus when not to. I mean, it was something, different to see, and I really, really hope that they consider bringing those tires to another short track.
Maybe even the championship track, but we'll get to that in a second. BR, what did you make of the race on Sunday? Any thoughts?
Yeah, I mean it was a fun race. Yeah, I echo Chris. I think the t- the option of tires and such made the race a lot more enjoyable, just because of all the different strategy and such, and the finish was really nice too. I overall I thoroughly enjoyed this race.
Cam, what about you?
Yeah, I echo that. I mean, it's usually Phoenix is not usually one of my favorite destinations. We go to on the schedule, but it was a good race. I mean, my opinion, I don't even think we necessarily need the whole option thing. Just make the option tire the short track tire and call it a day.
Yep,
Yeah.
That's
I'm
what
good with
that's what
that.
most of the drivers are saying. Yeah.
I'm good with
Okay,
it.
let's just kick off the tire discourse. Obviously it worked out. We saw a lot of different strategies, saw a lot of passing. Um, we were this close to a Ty Dillon top 10 finish. Um, yeah, Cam, I'll just kick it off with you. The soft tire. You said that this should be the mainstay short track tire throughout. Um, yeah. So beyond that, that being said, takes me a second to get there. A lot of drivers are saying just make it this one. I don't think there's a lot of love for the main primary that took forever to break down and whatnot. Would obviously you're open to that, and then obviously there's the controversial middle ground of just having this same kind of setup, the yellows and the reds. Um, obviously that beats nothing, but what do you think of that? Do you think would you be all for kind of a halfway point in, like, say, the championship? That's obviously being held in Phoenix. Would you be open to having the yellows and the reds, or would you rather have one or the other, like Christopher Bell? What's kind of your take?
I mean, that red tire, just make it the tire. I mean, the thing is, there's not even as much strategy as they want to make it seem like there is when there's the yellows and the reds, because anybody with speed just saves the reds for the third stage. So I mean, I'm not even sure there's as much strategy. Like, yeah, it'll get track position for some of the slower, like mid pack slower cars, but as soon as the fast cars put the reds on, they're going to get eaten up anyway. So just put. I mean, we as a community, drivers, media, fans have been begging for a soft tire that that one speeds up the cars on these short tracks, so makes up for a little bit of the horsepower we've lost, and have been begging for a tire that falls off, and this tire does both. I think it's a no brainer, and I'm glad the drivers are like actually coming out and saying that.
BR, do you echo the same sentiments? Anything to add?
Yeah,
Going
no, I agree with Cam. I think it that tire was everything we've been wanting out of the tire for these short tracks, and especially the fact that not only does it lead to better entertainment for the fans, it's what the drivers prefer. Yeah, I agree with Cam. It's a no-brainer.
Chris, kicking it to you.
Yeah, the fan in me definitely wants them just to go to the soft tires. I mean, it's a no-brainer, kind of like Cam said. But I think the realist in me knows that's probably not going to happen because Cam also kind of said it. The strategy they make you kind of believe is there provides entertainment for a lot of new fans. When you come in and see a driver like Ryan Preece go up 30 spots after a restart, within I think it was like correct me if I'm wrong, maybe like 40, 50 laps time, he just went up passing. He was all over the track. It was a show. But definitely, I would love to see the soft tire if NASCAR actually, listens to the fans and the driver.
So, what do you think will actually happen as
What
we
do I
get down
think
the
will
road?
actually happen? I think
Obviously, there's the 2 short track races in the playoffs that we're all going to kind of focus on here with New Hampshire and Gateway. They are in desperate need of something to make those races a little more entertaining for the fan on TV.
And Martinsville and Bristol.
Martinsville and Bristol as well.
And
I think you're going to see the two tire option for at least maybe 1 or 2 more short tracks before the playoffs, and then they're going to make a decision ultimately to go with one way or the other. Which, like you kind of said when we started this conversation, you take what they give you as a fan, from that kind of aspect. If they're like, hey, we're going to leave the yellows and the reds, well, okay, I'm going to take that because at least it's a little better than just the yellows for the whole race. But at the same time, I want to see the reds personally.
Does anybody else have a differing thought on what they will do, not what you really want them to do?
I have a little optimism that there's a chance they go to the Reds simply because I understand where you're coming from. Like they really all they care about is a TV show, but if you go to the Reds, these guys are going to have to pit in the middle of stages on short tracks again. So that's going to create strategy on its own because now everybody just stops at the end of the stages on stage 1 and 2 and stops in the middle of stage 3. That's the strategy on every short track and every intermediate. And you can't do anything about it on intermediate, but on a short track, all of a sudden, if you give them those red tires, they're gonna have to it's all gonna have to be Darlington and Richmond everywhere where they have to stop once in every stage or stop twice in third stage, and that's going to create strategy organically on its own. Now, I will give you the point: do they have enough foresight for that? Usually not, but I have some optimism because especially with how the drivers like all seem to unanimously be like, this is the tire we want.
BR, anything to add?
No, I mean, we will wait and then we will know.
That's it.
Absolutely. All right. So Christopher Bell gets 3 in a row. The first time that somebody's done it in the first 4 races since Kevin Harvick. And then obviously Kyle Larson won 3 in a row back in 2021. BR, I'll let you kick off this conversation with C-Bell. Is this the breakout year that we've kind of all been waiting for?
I mean, especially considering the fact that he seems to figure out how to run plate tracks now. I think that this is the season we've been waiting for him. You gotta like what you're seeing if you're a fan of him. I mean, he's the Atlanta one was a bit, Mickey Mouse to an extent, but I think it's a good. I think this is the season you want, and that I apologize, my brain just stopped working.
It's okay. It's only Tuesday. Cam, I'll kick it to you. What are kind of your expectations for C-Bell down the road? Can he hit some crazy number like what was it? Harvick in 2020 won 10 times or whatever it was.
Yeah, I mean, he's got 3 now. The thing is, he kind of showed this speed last year. He just kept wrecking out of the lead of races. Like this speed was there last year. He just couldn't seem to put it all together, and it looks like he finally is now. I mean, this feels a lot like Larson in 2021, where he just for his first year in that 5 car, where from the jump of the season, he was just the fastest car on any style of track every single week. So I think everyone's kind of known that him and Larson are kind of on their own in terms of like all around talent and ceiling in a race car in the circuit. But I think now we've gotten to a point where the results are showing that where they're kind of both the two. Now, granted, we'll see what happens at the end of the year when you get into all the madness of the playoffs. But in terms of on a week to week regular season basis, I think we're going to see a lot of those two. And just because of what he's done so far this year, probably William Byron at the front of these races every single week to, some variance, of course, but generally in the aggregate.
Chris, what do you make of Seabell's hot start?
Yeah, I think it's definitely been building for a while. Cam kind of touched on it too. Last year he showed the speed. It just seemed like for some reason it just wasn't put together as much as he, like the finishes weren't put together as much as he wanted or needed them to be. He's definitely like, I remember, and Cam, maybe you can recall this too, when he first came into like Xfinity and trucks, that was kind of the big comparison, him and Larson. They started like instantly. I remember, maybe you don't, but maybe I could be hallucinating, but I remember like everybody was like, hey, watch Christopher Bell. This is like the next coming of, Kyle Larson. This kid's got some talent. And like now it's really showing out. I think Clint Boyer kind of said it on the TV broadcast. He's like, this kid's always had elite talent, but now he's showing it.
Yeah, I mean, there was a stretch in the Xfinity Series 2017, 2018, where especially on these short tracks, flat ovals, he was just so much faster than anybody in that series. And of course, he took a little bit of a detour because that was the only seat available when he got into the 95. But yeah, I mean, we are now got to a point where this is the peak of his his power, so to speak, and we'll see if he can put it all together because he seems to run Phoenix the same way he runs New Hampshire. So
No, yeah, Seabell owns my backyard for sure. All right, so Seabell wins 3 in a row. Let's talk about his teammate Ty Gibbs. It's been a rough go of it to start this year and to end last year. I sent it in somewhere. Yeah, the last 8 races. All right, this is dating back to the Roval in 24. 35th, 30th, 36th, 32nd, 40th, 16th, 32nd, 34th. Not awesome, to say the least. Cam, should he be feeling any sort of pressure?
I mean, he won't. But whether he should or he shouldn't, he won't. But he his name is on the team. But he I don't know. It's weird because last year a lot of that was like wrecks. A lot of that was like getting wrecking, getting spun around, whatever. This year he's just slow, and that I think is the biggest thing because Briscoe hasn't looked amazing so far, but Hamlin and Bell are miles ahead of him, especially Bell, of course, and. I mean, he's not even looking on speed. Like sometimes you'll see him pop up on the ticker at like 15th, but more times than not, I mean, he's not even like. I don't know if it's a confidence thing. I don't know if it's because he lost his crew chief because Chris Gale moved over to the 11, which is kind of ironic because everybody was like, "Damn, that sucks for Denny." But I don't know what it is. I mean, if he's in the top 20, it feels like he's having a good day right now, and in those cars, it's inexplicable. It really is. There's got to be something going on behind the scenes. I don't know if it's a confidence thing or what.
Well, I'll do like Cam. Like I was looking it up just for notes and sakes purposes. I was gonna do you one better, minus like top 10s and stuff. Denny's not even really won since Dover last year in April. So
That's
I mean,
true.
if you think about it, like Denny's been consistent. Yeah, he's getting his top 10s, top 5s, but he's not been winning. Seabell's basically been carrying that team for a little bit. So maybe you're right. Maybe there's something a little deeper to it than that. Like, and the driver talent is just obviously different there from driver to driver because Denny's a good driver. He's a veteran. Probably should have won a championship by now a couple different times. And we just talked about Christopher Bell. We have all known he's, the eliteness has been there. We've just been waiting on it. So is it maybe the cars or, something more? That's something you don't think about, though, with a team like JGR.
Well,
right?
Bell recently has kind of reminded me of what Blaney's kind of become at Penske, where he seems to be the only guy week to week that's consistently there, and the other ones just pop up sometimes. It's weird. It seems like Hendrick's now the only team in the sport that's 3+ cars, and all of them are good every week.
BR, what do you make of this Ty Gibbs thing?
It's very strange because it's it'd be one thing if it's okay, he's just not talented and he's there because of the last name. He's shown talent. He's shown that he can be good, So whether it's confidence, like Cam said, or there's got to be something going on here that we as fans are not privy to seeing. But I for my money, compared to expectations and maybe the equipment, who knows? Like Chris said, it's got to be the worst start of the season, right? Especially now that Briscoe's penalty got, yanked off.
No, for sure.
It's been terrible,
Last year he finished with an average finish of 17, 12 top 10s, 8 top 5s. Through 4 races, he's got 1 top 20, and I don't know if that counts because it's Daytona. Okay, yeah.
I said to highlight how bad the start was. He wrecked Sunday and gained 2 spots in points.
One of them was over Truex, I believe.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, Cam said it too. He's not gonna see the pressure because his name's on the team. Come on, let's be honest about it. It's kind of like an Austin Dillon type of situation there. He's there probably as long as he realistically wants the seat. But also it's taken some other good drivers time to win before. Chase Elliott, it took him a couple seasons. It did take Byron, even Reddick, Cindric, all took them a little time to win. In the Cup Series. So I don't know. Maybe it is something behind the scenes we're not seeing. But I'm with BR. He's got the talent. He's shown the talent. I just don't know what's going on. Is it confidence? Is it something more? That's what's kind of interesting with Ty Gibbs.
Yep, and his last top 5 happened to be at Kansas last year, I do believe. I just closed that tab. Yes, top 5 at Kansas, the fall Kansas race. At Vegas last year, he finished 30th after leading 23 laps. And he finished 5th at the spring Vegas race. So this could be a solid spot for him if we judge by last year's spring race. We'll see if he can finally turn it around. So Spire puts all their cars, in the top 10 in qualifying? And then they're all involved in the same wreck, the same pileup on, I think it was lap 99 or so. All in all, I think Spire's having a pretty solid start to the year between Hocevar coming out and being, despite polarizing, being very fast. I think Haley's been solid. Haven't seen too much of McDowell, but Chris, I'll let you kick off the Spire discourse. What do you make of their start to 2025, and do you expect big things going forward?
They're an interesting team overall just because of their lineup. If you look at them, you're like, who? If you don't follow the sport regularly, you wouldn't know a lot of those names. But just because if they figure a few more things out, I feel like they really could be in contention more. At least with one driver, Hocevar's shown, he's willing to rattle the cages, and if he's got a car under him, he feels like can win. So, I mean, they're an interesting team. I do think they've got potential to get better. It's just, can they? I think maybe with time, definitely, because people like, Ronnie Childers has only been there since the offseason last year, and now we're just now getting on track. So, I mean, there's a lot of growing left to do with that team for sure. So definitely interesting. I think they're going to be somebody to watch, though, maybe in the next couple of years. I don't know if they'll ever get to Hendrick levels, obviously, but I think they could definitely be somebody you see contend for a couple, wins a year as a team.
BR, what do you make of Spire Motorsports so far?
Yeah, I mean, obviously the wrecks this weekend was unfortunate, but you gotta be pleased with what you've seen so far. Especially with Hocevar. He really looks like he can be the one to build your organization around. You know, he I I think that, yeah, like Chris said, that in a few years this might be a team to watch. Kind of like how slowly over time Front Row has kind of become a team, that goes from who are these guys to, yeah, they're not Hendrick, they're not Gibbs, they're not even Penske or whatever. But this is a team that is going to bring some good cars. They're going to bring good setups, and they're gonna try to try. They're gonna try to not try. They're gonna contend. That's the word. They're gonna contend for the win for more weeks than not. So,
Nope, for sure. Definitely a hot, an impressive start so far. Cam, any additional discourse on Spire Motorsports in their 2025 so far?
Yeah, I mean, they're on the progression they thought they want to be. I will say, like you guys have all touched on it, is there's one clear fast driver in that lineup, and I wouldn't be surprised if pretty soon here, because I think Chris is the one brought up Rodney Childers, that you see like a Penske style crew chief swap from like 5-6 years ago, and they go, look, man, Justin Haley, we like you, but we can win races with this kid, and we're gonna put this guy with him. I would not be surprised if you see that, because one, also they're gonna have to do whatever they can to keep him there, because if seats start opening up somewhere, he's 22, like
Yeah, he's a little younger than me.
he's gonna have no allegiance to that team. If a big team comes in for him, he's gonna say sorry and move on. So I think they should do whatever they can to support and nurture that talent, because Michael McDowell's over 40, I believe, and Justin Haley, while he's good bloke, but he's not exactly sighting the world alight.
Yeah, Carson Hocevar just turned 22 in January, and Justin Haley is going to be.
I'll ask you guys this too: if you're Carson Hocevar and someone, say, like Richard Childress, comes to you and he's like, "Hey, come drive for me. Kyle's made it clear he's going to go somewhere else in free agency. He's not going to re-sign. You come drive for me. Do you take it, or do you stay with Spire just based off the potential that Spire has, or do you go for RCR and all that RCR is?"
I mean, it depends how much he cares about pedigree, because those cars have not really outrun Spire on a week-to-week basis. So
I was about to say, RCR is not in a great place right now.
It depends how much you care about pedigree, because the thing is, if you're Carson Hocevar, you can't really use the 8 car as a barometer because of who's in that car. You kind of have to use the 3 car as a barometer. And even though I assume he's better than Austin Dillon, but either way, you kind of have to take the almost like split that in half, and half is not as good as he's been running in that 77. So
I would totally agree.
Unless he just really cares about driving for Richard Childress, which maybe he does. I don't know.
Maybe the money talks. He's got all those wineries.
Spire might got more money than they got.
Yeah, that's true. I forget Spire, what Spire does sometimes. I'm just like, and then I remember they're just super rich.
Last thing, BR, I'll let you kick this off. Austin Cindric got hit with a penalty, 50 points, $50,000 for his right rear hook of Ty Dillon into the wall at Coda. Was the penalty just? Was it not enough? Should have he been suspended? I will let you answer all those questions.
I mean, going off precedent, yeah, he should have been suspended. That's what they've done in the past. Bubba Wallace, Chase Elliott, I believe, had one last year, I believe, or was it 2 years ago?
2 years ago. 2 years ago at the Coke 600.
Yeah. So going off precedent, I'm not sure why they decided this wasn't a suspension, other than like, well, it's Ty Dillon, who cares? Which, respect. Which respect, I that's if that's your justification, then fair enough. But like, goes back to what we said a few weeks ago of consistently inconsistent. It's just another time we're talking about NASCAR doing something inconsistent from what they've done in the past. But just going off precedent alone, yeah, he should have been suspended, in my opinion.
For whatever it's worth, to add a little bit, Austin Dillon right hooked Denny Hamlin for the win and got away with it, sort of.
About sort of.
You could argue his punishment was worse.
Yeah.
No, for sure, Cam. I'll let you take the ball and run with it. The Cindric penalty, should have he been suspended? Was this enough? Go for it.
I mean, he should have been suspended. I mean, they set a precedent on this. I mean, I know why they didn't. I think it's a dumb reason, but I know why they didn't is because it just simply wasn't at the speed that, Hamlin and Larson were going when Wallace and LA did that. But it doesn't matter. You were still on a straightaway. I mean, I guess there's not a wall immediately there, but like you can't make it that arbitrary and that subjective. He right rear hooked him. It's just what it is. I mean, you can make the argument that Austin Cindric probably wasn't going to score 50 points in the next race. So it depends on how you look at that. But either way, that's a suspension. They've decided for that infraction, and going away from it just doesn't make any sense.
Chris, anything to add to the Austin Cindric discourse?
Yeah, no, I mean, BR and Cam said it all pretty much. They wanted to set a precedent. They should have carried it over. I don't care necessarily. I think the speed argument's kind of dumb. That's the talk with NASCAR, though. Again, consistently inconsistent. Well, I mean, we're talking about it again. NASCAR makes calls the way they want to make calls.
Yeah, so Cindric loses 50 points. After Phoenix, I don't know where he ranks in the point standings as it stands today. Standings after Phoenix. Come on. Here we go. Stupid ads. We got Austin Cindric at P32. Minus 113 of William Byron, your points leader. All right. Anything that we want to talk about before we give our weekly awards? Did I miss anything? Did we forget anything?
I don't think so.
Not that I
Very
can
good. All right. Time to give our awards for driver of the week. Who impressed us the most coming out of Phoenix? BR, I will kick it off with you.
I'm gonna go with Josh Berry this week. And they had the Wood Brothers car. They put him P4th on qualifying, got points in both stages, and finished top 5. I think he got the third most points of anybody this week, if I saw it correctly. Which it's very fourth, close enough. Yeah, he was really good all day. He was in contention at the end for the win. He was by far the one who impressed me the most this week.
Cam, kicking it to you. Who's your driver of the week?
That was going to be my answer. I mean, I think the 12 was probably a little faster than them on speed most of the race, but in terms of running position, he was outrunning all the other 3 Penske cars the entire race, other than when Cindric threw on reds and took the lead for like a second. Other than that, he was, in terms of running position, just outran everybody. I mean, that was going to be my answer, so I'm going to stick with it. I didn't have one prepared underneath it.
Nope, that's rock solid. Chris, who's your driver of the week?
Yep, I'm going to go ahead and jump on the Josh Berry bus as well, just because I don't have a
I'm going to be the asshole who doesn't give him.
Yeah, I totally, everything BR said kind of just took the words right out of my mouth. He qualified well, ran well. Like, you don't see that, or you haven't seen that car do that in a while, especially on a track like Phoenix. So it was definitely cool to see. And like Cam said, I don't have a backup answer. So, yeah, I'm just going to roll with it. We're going with Josh Berry.
I mean, like I said after Atlanta, how bad was Harrison Burton? Like, how bad is he? Like, it's insane.
Yeah. I don't want to be the asshole, but I kind of got to do it. I want to give it to Denny Hamlin. Finishes P2. Finally get to see him running back up front strong. Despite the new crew chief the NASCAR lawsuit, FedEx leaving him high and dry. This was a good week for him and the 11 team. This close to getting it done. I want to give it to Denny Hamlin. So
I'm surprised you didn't give it to your boy.
Yeah, I thought you were going to go with Bowman.
I try not to be super. I try not to be super biased with these things.
Wait, top 10 at Phoenix, though. Come on.
The top 10 at Phoenix, coming from P32 all the way. Like, I can go on and on and on about this, but
Dude dribbled it off the apron like 5 times on Saturday and was still able to bring it up to P7.
Seriously, yeah. Certainly a contender, an honorable mention, but I will go with Denny Hamlin for this week's Driver of the Week. And now for the more fun award, ironically, probably the toughest award as well, our weekly Terrorist of the Week. Phoenix was a hard one. Not a lot of things going absurdly wrong or people doing stupid things. But I challenge you all to give an award anyway. Cam, who is your Terrorist of the Week for Phoenix?
I mean, there really wasn't anyone at fault for anything, so I'll get creative and say Ryan Blaney's engine. I mean, it sounded like he thought it was going to blow up with like 100 to go and was just hoping that entire time it was. I wonder what happened to him. Like, I wondered why all of a sudden he couldn't move out of P10, even though he seemed to pass cars every time they ran. But yeah, it's rare to see a Penske car just straight explode. So I'll go with that.
I don't know if you could find his radio traffic when that thing let go, but it was absolutely great. I loved it.
It actually turns out, Chris, that on HBO Max, you can access these driver cams like after the race is over.
Whoa. I'm going to have to go check that out then.
Yeah, I meant to see Briscoe running Bowman off the track at Coda just so I could like confirm what I thought happened, but I got lazy. I didn't want to dig through 3 hours of camera footage to find that. But all right, BR, who did you texted me? You asked me, who I was going to go with.
Yeah.
This was tough, but I challenge you anyway. I trust your abilities. Who'd you come up with?
Well, I'm going to steal a bit from Cam, and I'm going to say Bubba Wallace brakes because they blew up to what he said. They were having a good day. They were going to get a top 10, going to at least contend for a top 10 finish. They had a pretty tough start, but the car got better as the day went on, and then last stage the brakes decided to give it a big boom, I fear. So yeah,
the brakes got 5 big booms. Yeah.
Yep. Sorry to hear about your brakes. Use 5 big booms. Anyways. Yeah. So to steal a bit from Cam, I'm gonna go with Bubba Wallace brakes.
I'm proud of us so far for not going with the low-hanging fruit. Chris, please don't disappoint me.
Yeah, I'm actually going to go with I couldn't find one myself in the Cup Series. I went to the Xfinity Series, actually, and I'm going to put the inside wall of, I think it's turn 3 at Phoenix, because Austin Hill just slammed into the side of it and then took out Sheldon Creed and like another driver. It was just absolutely hilarious to watch. Just misjudged it. And he said it on the radio, too. He was just like, that was just a stupid mistake. Sorry, guys. But, yeah, so that inside wall, I'm taking that. Just came right out of nowhere on Austin Hill.
Good one. I, too, had a tough time coming up with one. So I went with Ty Gibbs. After watching the film on that big stack up on lap 99, whatever it was, I concluded that Ty Gibbs was at fault, squeezing, I believe it was Haley or Briscoe, that put Hocevar into a car wall sandwich, and then just everything blew up from there. So I'm going to go with Silver Spoon himself in Ty Gibbs as my Terrorist of the Week. So good job, fellas. Nothing too obvious. No unanimous award winner for Terrorist of the Week. Just one driver away from the Driver of the Week. But I imagine it'll take something special for us to get unanimous there. All right, Las Vegas. Personally, I think this is my favorite track on the schedule. I love me some Las Vegas. A mile and a half. These cars run extremely well on those. It's always a pretty entertaining race. Cam, I'll just kick it to you. What's kind of your expectations for Las Vegas? You excited? Any thoughts as we head into it?
I mean, I'm excited just because, like you said, this is the cars. This is where they race the best on the schedule, is these types of tracks. I will say this. I mean, maybe it being kicked a little bit further into March will help, but I will say the spring race has typically been left a little bit to be desired in comparison to the fall race in recent years. But other than that, no. I mean, it should be a lot of fun. These Tyler tracks tend to separate, the fast cars from the slow cars a lot of the time. So, yeah. Won't tell us that much about potential playoff implications because they're literally all gone out of the playoffs pretty much. But it should be a lot of fun.
BR, anything to add to Las Vegas?
I mean, not really, if I'm being totally honest. It's just going to be, these are where the cars work the best, and it should be a fun race.
Chris?
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be solid racing. You guys have all said it. I don't think I need to air any more on it. Like they said, the cars were practically built for this and road course racing. So I feel like this is the best racing product we get. But again, it is Vegas, and the spring race has left a little bit to be desired. I'm still, going to enjoy the race, though, I believe.
On your new TV at that.
On my new TV. No, Cat.
Alrighty, friends. Before we get to our driver picks, I think it's better to do the DraftKings segment before we get to our drivers, to our picks. So let's just start off with the matchups on DraftKings Sportsbook, the official sportsbook of me and Chris's weekly picks. The first matchup is the man himself, Christopher Bell, versus Joey Logano.
Wait, what odds do I get for Bell?
Minus 205.
Okay, I figure because Penske doesn't show up at this race like ever. Like, the best you can get is Ryan Blaney running about 7th. It's like that's almost insane that's a matchup. They were lazy with that.
Yeah, so Christopher Bell around the table, I imagine.
Yeah.
I mean, I know they're going off the fact Logano won the fall race, but he didn't even win it on speed. And Penske is not going to show up to this race, I promise.
The next one, Christopher Bell is in a double header. We have Seabell versus Young Money Kyle Larson.
Ooh, that one's interesting. Because this very well it could be a snooze fest, guys. I'm not gonna lie. So I'll take Larson. I don't see Bell winning 4 in a row. I just don't think it's happening.
Are you a doubter? Are you willing to go on record saying that?
Yeah, I'll doubt it. Why not?
That's your lock of the week. Seabell will not be winning. I dare you to fade him. I dare you.
I don't know if I can do that. I don't know if I can commit to that just yet. That's tough.
We got Ross Chastain versus Kyle Busch.
That's interesting because RCR shows up when they want to on these tracks. You never really know. Guess I'll go Kyle.
I'll go Chastain, I guess.
Yeah, I'll go Kyle.
I'll go. Do I want to leave BR on an island?
This is one of those. I'll get back to you after Saturday moments because.
Yeah. Sure. I'll go Kyle Busch. All right, William Byron versus Denny Hamlin.
I mean, without knowing any speeds, Byron.
Yeah.
All right, I would agree. Although I do think Denny Hamlin's going to be hitting victory lane here pretty soon. The top Chevrolet, the odds say Kyle Larson plus 130. You can get William Byron plus 320, Kyle Busch plus 700. Sneaky pick, Alex Bowman plus 1100. The top Ford belongs to Joey Logano at plus 180 with Ryan Blaney behind him plus 190. And the top Toyota is obviously Seabell at plus 150, Tyler Reddick plus 225. If you're curious, Bubba Wallace plus 1400.
What's Buscher's write-off?
You took that straight out of my brain.
CB17, Chris Boucher is at plus 800
That's really good value.
for the
Yeah,
top
really
four, not
cool.
race winner. You can actually bet on the fastest lap.
No, yeah, you can bet on anything. That's as a result. But
Winning
Yeah.
manufacturer, the Chevys are heavy favorites. Not heavy, plus 120 to plus 140. Fords are at plus 350.
well, yeah, they just don't. They're not good on these tracks. That's not surprising.
Most fastest laps, they got those two, and then obviously the top car. Okay, time for our driver picks. I'll lead it off. I feel pretty confident in this one. I feel like we're overdue for a Kyle Larson belt to ass race, and I think this is gonna be the one. And Vegas is usually pretty good for it. So give me Young Money, number 5, as I'm wearing my number 5 Casey Kane T-shirt. BR, kicking it to you.
Yeah, I'll join you and say Kyle Larson. He has good results here, and we seem due for a Larson win. So I'll join you and go with him.
Cam.
I understand where y'all coming from because I mean this has been his playground, and since he's been in this 5 car, but in terms of consistent speed week to week, and then add on the Hendrick engineering, I'm gonna go with William Byron. I mean, I just think that he's been honestly the most consistent driver they have. Is he the fastest driver in the team? No, that's obviously Larson. But in terms of week to week results, really going back a year or so, he's been the most consistent week to week. So I know he's going to be up front, and I wouldn't be surprised if we see another pole next week either. So
No, that's a good pick as well. Chris, I know that there's a certain part of you that wants to take a certain driver. Will you do it?
No, I'm actually not. But I thought about it. I'm actually going to roll with Tyler Reddick this week.
that's fair.
I just besides Bell, he's been consistently one of the fastest Toyotas week in, week out. He's really good on these, 1.5-mile tracks. Most of the time, I will give him. Right offhand, I can't remember what his average finish is at Vegas, but I think he's going to win one soon.
Tyler Reddick at Las Vegas. Oh damn it! They don't just give me the stat from goddamn next year. I gotta go to a different page. Tyler Reddick's average finish at Las Vegas, once I get through 400 tabs on driveraverages.com, is 12.2 in 6 races. He has 1 top 5 and 4 top 10s.
Well,
Yeah, I'm going to roll with that. I'm rolling with Reddick this week.
Any guess on who has the best average finish?
At Vegas?
Yeah.
Ooh. My instinct says Larson, but I'm guessing it's not Larson considering you asked the question.
It is not Larson.
What manufacturer?
Chevy.
Byron.
Byron's number 2.
Wait, are you asking the question because it's Bowman?
Nope. Bowman's
I had to check. Chastain?
It is Ross Chastain with an average finish of 5.5, 4 top 5s in 6 races, and has never finished below the top 20. So,
well, he won a mile and a half in the playoffs last year. Was it Vegas or was it Kansas? I don't know why.
It was Kansas.
Kansas, yeah.
It was Kansas. Okay.
His best finish at Las Vegas is P2 in the fall of 2022. Leading a total of...
I don't know why I didn't recall all that. I have a different opinion on the matchup thing now. But
leading a total of 153 laps. Kyle Busch, 10.5 average finish, so not bad. 3 top 5s. Solid. But Bowman's 12.4 in 5 races. He missed one due to the concussion in 2022. But that is going to do it for us, I do believe. Chris, what do we got coming this week?
Gonna have my wife's and I show dropping tomorrow or Thursday, depending on how our kids act tonight. Then we'll have the power rankings out at the latest Thursday. I might get them out early, and then our picks piece on bellyupsports.com.
Yep, right before the show, I was typing up my 3 up, 3 down. That'll be up tomorrow, probably as you're watching this. Cam, BR, anything to say to the fine people at home?
let's make it 6 next week.
Let's go. All right. Thank you for watching, everybody. Make sure you like and subscribe. Make sure you follow the show on Facebook and Twitter, where you can find me and Chris posting all of our stuff. And yeah, thanks for listening to Short Pit. We will see you all next time.